On that, Conrad Burns, 3 minutes.
Sure glad you got such a rosy outlook on our future for our kids.
You brought it to us.
Closing statement.
Thank you for the opportunity to coming back to Montana State University and the sponsors of this debate. I appreciate that very much. We've got a long road ahead to keep us free, to keep us healthy, to make sure our rights are ensured. We got a Constitution. We got 2 new judges, of which neither one of them was supported by either one of these 2 other men on this posting. The Kelo decision, where the courts can take private property away from one private entity and give it to another private entity just based on their idea that maybe the new owner can do a better job with it, is something that really spurred the debate over Mr. Samuelito and Mr. Roberts. Both of these fellows oppose them. They still want to raise your taxes, and we got to make the tax cuts permanent. Because if we do not, in the year 2011, your tax obligation to the federal government will go up on a family of 4 making $64,000 a year. It will go up 58%. A new entrant into the labor market making $18,000 a year, their obligation will go up 48%. The new tax cuts of them was more progressive than Mr. Clinton's tax increases. Because if you want to tax the rich, and that's what they want to do, is class warfare, do you realize those folks are making $184,000 and or more a year pay 84% of the income taxes paid into the National Treasury? 84%. Under Mr. Clinton, they paid 82%. So we're actually more progressive. And the lower 2 actually get money back. That's why it's important that we must make these tax cuts and extenders permanent. Because in that is tax credit for teachers, tax credits for education, for families, and for health care. It's all there. And it's in the best interest of our economy. It's in the best interest of the people of America. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Conrad Burns. Jon Tester, 3 minutes closing statements. Just hold it for a minute, please. Thanks.
Gene, Bob, Andrea, Cole, thank you very much. Thank you to Montana State University. We've got a very important election coming up here on November 7th. There's critical issues out there that we need to deal with. You want to talk taxes? Senator Burns wants to repeal the income tax and put on a 23% sales tax on you folks. And that's across the board. If you exempt food and gasoline and heating oil, it goes up exponentially. You want to know where his priorities are? I can tell you where the priorities are. They're with Jack Abramoff and his Wall Street buddies. The fact is we need somebody, you need somebody back in Washington, D.C. that will take Montana values back to Washington, D.C. Somebody who will address the health care problems in this country. Right now, when families can't afford to get sick, that's not health care. We're 19th in the world. We didn't used to be that way. You want to talk about medical research? We're in the process of underfunding the National Institute of Health, so the medical research is going to start heading to the Pacific Rim, China and India, under this current administration's watch. That's not the direction. You want to talk about foreign policy? You want to talk about the war on terror? Let's get serious about the war on terror. Let's not pass acts like the Patriot Act, and let's not put it under the guise of the war on drugs. That's baloney. Let's stop, please. Let's not talk about it from a standpoint that the CIA and the FBI can't communicate. Who's running the show around here? The bureaucracy or the legislative and executive branch? I can tell you who runs it in this state. We don't let the executive branch run over, and the legislative branch does their job of accountability and checks and balances. It's not just a rubber stamp. When there's a Supreme Court justice that's put up, I want to know the answers to the questions. Regardless who the president is, the last two didn't answer the questions. That's the problem. If you're willing to be a rubber stamp, you can do that on a computer sitting at home. Truth is we have problems in this country like energy that need to be solved, and you guys have to be the first priority, not the multinational oil. Let's talk about the debt. $30,000 per person. Economy's growing double digits, and these guys can't balance the checkbook. They're spending more than they're taking in. And they call themselves fiscal conservatives. You've got to have folks who can use arithmetic in the equation, people who know how to balance a checkbook in the private sector and in the public sector. I've done it in both places. You know, my grandparents worked hard to give my wife and I the kind of opportunity, as did her grandparents and her parents. Opportunities for our kids are slipping away. This is why I'm running for the United States Senate. The next generation, our kids, our grandkids, need to have opportunity if they're going to be successful and if they're going to enjoy the kind of hunting and fishing and quality of life that we have here in Montana and this great country.
Stop.
But in the process, we
We're
can't
out.
take away the freedoms.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Please, to our United States Senate candidates, Conrad Burns, Stan Jones, and Jon Tester. And to our panel, Bob Gibson. Now you can applaud from the Student Union building on the campus of Montana State University in Bozeman. Thank you and good night.